Chapter 1, in which my luck can't be beat. I just turned 29, moved to Boston, and began to settle in. I was single and unattached. Then, one weekend, I dogged it down to the city just to see some friends. Then, since I was in New York anyway, I decided to drop in to see my former boss, publisher Lyle Stewart, down on Park Avenue South. Lyle was a poker player. In no time at all, he was explaining to me that one of his poker partners had started a travel club, picked up about 600 members, but that now the club was almost defunct. He proposed that I take over the International Ski and Sea Club, that he'd put up the money and that we could get it going again, and handed me a couple of little 4-page folders, which the original founder had created. I said, well, I'll think about it. I'm taking a little trip to Europe, so I explained that a travel agency that very morning had paid me for a few hours of creative effort by giving me a round-trip TWA ticket to Paris. Yep, gratis. And of course, when luck starts coming your way, it just keeps coming. Stewart pulled out the huge wad of bills he always carried in his pants pocket, peeled off a C note, which was a lot of money, like $500 in today's money, and said, now you've got a ticket and $100. So with my TWA ticket, a sea and ski folders, and that crisp, clean $100 bill, I landed in Paris, bubbling over with good spirits and optimism. Then 2 days later, staring at what was left of the C note, I realized that I was good for about 3 more days. Prices had certainly gone up in Paris during my absence. It was then that I thought about the Club Méditerranée for the first time in a long time. It was awfully warm in Paris in June. A nice beach would be just the thing. I put on my only American suit, which was a New York summer weight model, my American shoes, a nice narrow American tie, and my American-style horn-rimmed glasses. Then I hopped a bus to the Place de la Bourse, where the Club Med had its headquarters. I strode in, trying to look like a busy, successful New York businessman, and I said rather loudly in my broadest American English to the nice-looking young lady in the small, terribly cluttered office, I'd like to see the president, please. Well, they were efficient. In another few moments, I was in the office of Gerard Blitz, founder of the Club Med. I immediately started speaking in English again. I had a hunch that someone from New York would have a better chance than someone who was at home in Paris, so I never let on to Blitz or his secretary that I knew French, nor even that I had ever been in France before. I was just off the plane, I said, and I was very interested in Mr. Blitz's club. I had just been offered directorship of the Sea and Ski International Club in New York, and here I spread the newsletters on his desk, and I was wondering whether or not there might be some possible tie-in between my club's 600 members and the vacation villages of the Club Med. Well, of course, Mr. Nelson, said Blitz. We're always interested in the American market. Have you ever been to one of our villages? No? Well, would you like to visit one of them? How long does it take? I said. Well, if you could spare a week, said Blitz. I pulled out a little diary from my inner pockets and pretended to be studying a list of appointments. Well, yes, I can manage your week fine. So which of our villages would you care to visit? He said. He led me to a map of Europe and Africa in the next room and began to rattle off names. We have villages in Greece, Yugoslavia, France, Italy, Spain, Morocco, Tunisia, and there were little flags pinned all over the map that showed that I had a choice of 51 places on the planet. All of a sudden, the world had opened up like a big amusement park. My luck in New York had managed to follow me to France. Where did I want to go? I was bewildered. Why don't I leave that up to you? I said. Blitz smiled. Well, then I think you should go to Agadir in Morocco. It's our newest village. Geraldine, kindly see if there's space on the flight to Agadir this weekend for one person. He spread a map on his desk and invited me to look at it with him. Now there, he said, is our next village. Have you been to Martinique, Mr. Nelson? No? Ah, a divine place, and we've discovered the most amazing spot to build. Pointing next to a large-scale map of the island, he said, the site we have found is here. Now, the trade winds come from this direction, but this site is sheltered by land, you see. So, we have a perfect spot right here. On a large-scale map of the island, he said, the site we have found is here. Now the trade winds come from this direction, but this side is sheltered by land. So we have plenty of wind here for sailing, yet perfect calm on this side for water skiing, swimming, etc. This is going to be our finest village. Standing next to Blitz, staring at that map, I had no idea that 5 years from then I'd be living, swimming, and shagging beautiful women on the island, on his map, at the exact spot he was pointing to.